for you this evening. The Ghana Education Service has indicted one Mr. Richard Tibeto, a teacher of Okadjakrom Senior High Technical School in the Jasikan municipality of the Oti region, over alleged sexual misconduct. In a statement issued today, the Ghana Education Service described the conduct as unacceptable, unethical, and a clear violation of the Professional Code of Conduct for Teachers. In addition to his interdiction, Mr. Tibeto has been barred from entering the school premises pending further investigations. The Ghana Education Service has assured parents, guardians, and the general public that the safety and protection of all students remain its topmost priority, stressing that any teacher found culpable of acts that compromise the dignity and well-being of students will face the full rigors of the law in line with the Ghana Education Service Code of Conduct. In a jiffy, we'll try and get further perspectives on this particular development from the Ghana Education Service. And then also, it comes on the back of another teacher who has also been, sacked for fondling or being in a very compromising position with a girl or a female student in one of the schools in the Ashanti region. So it looks as though in the last few days, this particular development has been frontal in news around the country. So we'll try and see what exactly the Ghana Education Service intends to do about it going forward, and how they hope to clamp down on individuals who are taking advantage of pupils in schools. While we try to connect to the Ghana Education Service, let's bring you what exactly Child Rights International has been saying. Its executive director, Bright Appiah, has been calling for broader discussions on immoral conduct in schools. He argues that teachers have not made the school environment friendly enough for children to confidently report such matters. He spoke earlier on Midday Live. Right, so try and get you that sound of what exactly Child Rights International has also been saying on this particular issue. And again, you know that the stakeholders within the education sector have also been sharing thoughts on it. Let's find out what exactly the thoughts of the Institute for Education Studies, IFEST, has on this issue that seems to be creeping in. Every now and then you hear such reports. Is it that the guardrails that are supposed to prevent these issues are loose or are not as active as they used to be? Or this is actually something that has been happening and it is that current day or modernity is why we seem to be hearing and seeing these developments in recent times? Dr. Peter Pateanti is Executive Director for the Institute for Education Studies, IFEST. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening, Martin.
This is the second time this week that we are hearing such a report of a male teacher having or being in an uncompromising position with a female student. And again, we know that your person and your outfit, you've done works around the country with many of such institutions. Is this a widespread situation or this is actually isolated?
Well, I believe that it's something that normally happens in most of our schools. And I remember 3 years ago, we did a work with Girls Excellence Movement on challenges that girls face in their education at the pre-tertiary level. And one of the factors that stood out strongly was this issue of maltreatment or molestation that girls experience with their teachers. So for me, based on that research output, I would say that it is something that is widespread.
And so if it is widespread, the next question then would be, is it that it is a growing trend, or it has already been in existence, but it is in now that we are hearing of it a lot more?
Yeah, it's because of the social media issues that we are now hearing more of it. One of the things that stood out with my interaction with the respondent for that particular study was the fact that mostly they do not know who to report these things to. And because of that, most of these cases are kept to themselves because they fear to be victimized in that particular perspective. And the report was called as Sheltered but Exposed. And we use that heading or topic because we felt that when when girls are taken to school, they are supposed to have a shelter there, a place where they are supposed to be protected and guided. However, while they are still supposed to be under that protection, they are exposed to a lot of exploitation in their activities. But they are not able to bring it out because of the societal reaction. So what social media has come to do is to help put some of these things out and then spread it widely for people to hear of it and then talk about it.
Do you believe that current disciplinary systems that are in some of these schools are strong enough to deter this behavior?
Well, I think
that is if even individual schools have them.
That's what they have been working with over the years. People have had challenges with it. People complain that you can't ask a teacher or you can't transfer a teacher from one school to the other in such a situation because the other school that is going to, there are also people there who there are students also in there. But I think that is what GS works with. I think what we will need to do is to look at the NTC angle, which looks at after the person has been exposed, has gone through proper disciplinary procedure and found to be guilty. That person can, the system can revoke the license that the NTC has given the person. So for me, it will be a matter of enforcing the current laws and then maybe tightening it further to ensure that there's enough punishment for anyone involved in this practice.
Right. And in conclusion, what role can parents play just in case an educational institution does not have these, guidelines for teachers who are coming in? Parents who are key stakeholders also do have a role to play, no? And what would that role be?
Yes, I think that 80 to 90% of preventing this lies with the parents. How are we bringing up our kids? Are we making them assertive enough to be able to speak out when they encounter such difficulties? How do we collaborate with school authorities with our kids that are depicting or showing such behaviors? Because you know that in this kind of conversation, there are students that are also very, very, very stubborn in that perspective. So how are we bringing our children in that light to ensure that they are law-abiding and they are obedient, but assertive to the extent that when they are being exploited, they will be able to voice out? I said that my interaction with the respondents, the girls in most of the schools, tells me that in most instances, they do not know who to talk to because they fear that they will be victimized or they will be labeled as bad girls or bad students. And so they keep it to themselves, and some of them would not even talk about it at all. So as parents, how do we interact with our children so that the little things that they experience, they're able to open up to us? So parents have got a lot of things to do. Teachers are supposed to be agents of care. They are in a position of trust, so they are supposed to be professionally relate with these students. And so we should encourage teachers to continue to be professional in their dealing with the students, and also link with parents when they feel that a student is going overboard in that perspective. So this is supposed to be a collaborative effort if we really want to deal with this situation in our senior high schools.
Doc, pardon my last question again. There's this issue about persuasion by some of these students. When I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate here. So you are a teacher, you are in school, and sometimes the teachers themselves become victims. You know, I'm sure many who listen would want to disagree, but when there is a teacher who has incessantly been, provoked by these children or these girls on campus, especially in the senior high schools, how do they go about it? Is there also a complaint unit where teachers can go and complain that students are harassing them, for which reason there are disciplinary actions to be taken against some of these students, that is?
Yeah, that angle is possible. Interestingly, I think I had an interview with one of your sister stations, and most of the feedback I'm getting from teachers seems to suggest that they are also, they also experience some of these things, and even some of the female teachers are also complaining of the kind of behavior that the male students on campus exhibit towards them. So it is a possibility. I think that the teachers are trained professionally to be able to handle this. And when you feel that you are not able to handle this, there is a school counselor, there is a headmaster in there. You should be able to confide in one or two senior members on campus, so that they invite the student's parents, and then the student is taken through the proper counseling procedure. I don't think that you should use that as an opportunity to go against your professional ethics and code of conduct. I think that if you are being harassed, you go through the proper process of reporting to a senior person, a counselor on campus, right. And then the student will be taken through the proper procedure of ensuring that the student is put on check. Okay. So we cannot use that as an excuse when these incidents happen. I think that the teacher, in terms of maturity, in terms of professional status and everything, the teacher is at a higher level, right, and should be able to put himself together and deal with this situation when it happens. Professionally.
Thank you. Certainly, that's a good call you make there. Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Pateyanti, for your time this evening.
You're welcome.
He is the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies IFEST, and has been sharing his thoughts on the news that we have, which is that the Ghana Education Service has interdicted one Richard Tibeto, a teacher at Okadjakrom Senior High Technical School, I should say, in the Jasikan municipality over alleged sexual misconduct. Earlier, we also had Bright Apia, who is the Executive Director for the Child Rights International. He has also been speaking on this issue.
Well, it's almost everyday activity that happens to children, to the extent that some children don't want to go to school, or they have to conform to what is happening in the system for them to be able to fit in. So it's a widespread issue, and we need a broader discussion on it to be able to have a policy to address it. If not, children will have to endure such a system before they complete school.
Indeed, and one of the other problems is also that families and survivors do not want to come forward. Do we know why, and perhaps how this can be dealt with?
It is because we've not made the school environment friendly enough for children to report. And the worst part of it is that parents also don't make themselves friendly enough for children to work with them and report such matters. So they have become their own protectors. They have to find ways and means to be able to endure the issue. And that, for me, it isolates the child from society, and it makes education that's supposed to build them up as another avenue of punishment that they have to go through. Because day in, day out, they see those people who commit such offenses against them in the classroom, and they even stand before them to teach them and all that. And you can imagine all the psychological issues that they have to go through. So more or less, the system is isolating children, and they have to deal with issues internally.
And that's the voice of Bright Appiah, who is the Executive Director for Child Rights International. This is still 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. It is live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kandai in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. We're going on to our next major subject, which has to do with cocoa. Now, the government has announced an upward